everybody, welcome to Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Ray Goots. We're still in the year 1997, and we're doing Starrcade 87. And, I know it's not a video podcast, but I'm wearing a Lex Luger shirt. I don't know if you can tell, Andrew B.
Wait, this is not a video podcast?
I mean, I use the footage on TikTok and the other thing, but because the laptop's been so weird, I haven't been able to do that. But I'm gonna.
Oh, okay. What is that like? The Lex Luger. What's that behind him? Like,
I
what
don't know.
black
It's like some
things?
weird.
Pills?
Like this is like this shirt came out in 2018. I think it's supposed to look like a throwback.
Oh, those are like dumbbells.
Background.
Yeah. Okay.
There's dumbbells here because he works.
No, there's dumbbells below him too, below his arms.
Oh yeah, and then he's got like, but this is like you don't see shirts like this is like his like 80s look. This is like
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
That's why I liked it. Yeah, because dude, like WWE shop used to be so good, bro. Like they'd make shirts like this. It's like,
Yeah, I like the throwback shirts.
They're good, but yeah. So we're here talking about Starrcade 87. I'm just gonna say this right now before we get into it. I thought this was the best Starrcade. This is the one that they constantly say like ruined the company. Dave Meltzer, Arn Anderson, Ric Flair have all said like this ruined the company. I thought it was the best fucking Starrcade yet.
I think it was better than the other ones, 100%. I think it's one of those. I wonder if they meant financially it was bad.
You know the backstory behind what happened on this day?
Why don't you explain it for our listeners? Because probably people look it up, people don't know.
Yeah. If you just went yes, I still would have explained it. Like, but so fucking so they had decided that they're finally going to go on pay-per-view. They did learn from the success of WrestleMania 3, I guess a little bit, because they were like, let's go to pay-per-view. People like wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And they decided we're going to leave. We're going to get a big arena in Chicago, and we're going to make this a big show for Thanksgiving, and we're going to make go of it. We're going to make Starrcade. We're going to officially make Starrcade our WrestleMania. And the moment that they got all the clearance, Vince showed up and said, I have a new pay-per-view, and if you don't carry mine, but carry Starrcade, you cannot have WrestleMania. And they tried to play ball. They were like, all right, well, we'll move Starrcade to the afternoon. So everyone can make money, which is a great idea. That's what earlier in the year, I watched NXT and then I watched AEW. It's great. It's like 6 hours of wrestling. And WWE still was like, no, fuck you. And so only small parts of this country got to see Starrcade 87. And it was a huge financial flop.
Yeah, there was only 8,000 people in attendance compared to, let's compare it to WrestleMania 3, which came out in the same year. Remember, this is the same year. WrestleMania 3, the attendance has always been questioned, but let's just say, just to clear the air, even if WrestleMania 3 held...
Even if they lied by 50,000, they still...
Yeah, let's give them that. Let's just say they drew 50,000 people, WrestleMania 3. Starrcade 87, which remember, just a couple of months later, only drew 8,000. Yeah. That's a huge difference. Remember, and we're lowballing WrestleMania 3. We're saying if they drew 50,000. So I think financially it was probably like a fucking huge disaster.
They said like it was a mistake going to Chicago. I think Green.
Yeah, I think that's true. That's 100% true.
We're the home team, and you bring at the time was supposed to be the biggest Starrcade over there. They go, it's a mistake. Like I think they all agree that they should the minute that Vince starts sniffing around, they probably should have moved the date.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I watched the show as a kid. I liked it as a kid, and for me, it held up. This show.
It did hold up, but you know what it felt like? It felt like it was too late. It felt like you guys finally arrived at the party. Everybody's already going home. That's what it felt like. It felt like, I can't believe you guys started in 1983 and it took you guys this long to figure things out. It took you guys 5 years to figure things out.
I'll tell you what was a big thing that made this show more watchable. And now that we know, the more that we watch all this, we could tell like he just did this himself. Jim Ross made it so much more watchable.
Jim Ross, there's a lot of improvements on this show. Right?
90% of it, Jim Ross.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Okay, if this was the first Starrcade,
Mm.
or even the second Starrcade I've seen, I think that would have been really good. But watching WrestleMania 3 and then watching this just like the fact that they're from like the same year, and I'm just like watching it back to back, I'm just like, dude, it's a good show, but it's really not that good, you know?
I mean, it's a good listen. I'm not. You can't compare it to WrestleMania 3,
Yeah.
and actually, I remember liking this better than the Survivor Series, which we're going to watch next week. The first one, that is.
Okay.
But for what it is, I mean, it's leaps and bounds better, and 90% of it is because no one said to him, "Hey, you should give the background on all these guys. You should talk
Yes.
about this." He just did that on his own. Like he had a fucking notepad, he took notes down, and he gave because nobody has done that before on any of the other Starcades. No one.
And if you're just looking at this from the Starrcade point of view, you're just comparing it against all 5 Starrcades, this is absolutely the best Starrcade for many reasons.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We'll
but
get into
he's
it.
a big reason. He's a big
Yeah,
reason.
no, absolutely. There's
But,
there's gonna be so many reasons.
But let's get into the show because I was because I've heard a lot of negativity about this show, and I remember a little kid I just rented it because I'd never seen a Starcade before, so I rented it, right, and I liked it, I enjoyed it, and I thought like, well, did I like it because I was a little kid or did I like it because it was a good show? And it's nice to see that it was a good show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would. What was some of the negativity? Because I've never really read up about any news about this.
I mean, Dave Meltzer was shitting on this show while talking about the Sami Zayn match. The big thing that Dave Meltzer said that the Road Warriors should have won, and that to me, that to me really was one of the worst finishes they could have done because it made no sense. You had to like watch the replay twice to understand it, and they didn't have a Tron in the arena. They said that killed them in Chicago, not having a Road
How could you? Here's the thing. All right, we'll get into that later.
We'll get into the Road Warriors, but let's start off with the opening contest.
Yeah. By the way, Starrcade '87 taking place November 26, 1987. They're calling it Chi-Town Heat because it's coming from Chicago. And introducing us is Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross. Now, those of you guys who don't know, I looked up to this a little bit. Jim Crockett Promotions, who basically is running Starrcade, they just bought another wrestling company called
they bought Bill Watts' company. That's why
it's called UWF. They bought it, so you're going to see a lot of new faces in Starrcade that you didn't see previously, including Jim Ross, right? So it's basically like if when Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor and just started throwing a whole bunch of like Ring of Honor people onto the show, he just kind of like, oh, who's Ian Riccaboni? He just shows up out of nowhere. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Right off the
Jim Ross made the show better. Ian Riccaboni.
There's a lot of people who made the show better, but right off the top, first thing I noticed, lots of empty seats. Tons.
They fill up. I think they should have had a dark match. I think they filled up over the course. They started the show too soon. People.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man. There was a lot of.
It fills up by the time you get to like the second or third match.
Yeah. You can see a lot of empty seats.
When they start, there's a lot of empty seats.
Yeah, there's lots of empty seats. And I'm like, this is not good. The previous Starrcades, they're all full. This one's like tons of empty seats.
Mm-hmm.
The first match is a 6-man tag. We get Sting, gorgeous Jimmy Garvin with Precious and Michael P.S. Hayes versus Eddie Gilbert, Rick Steiner, and Larry Zbyszko with Baby Doll. They're wrestling. By the way, I noticed the banner on the ring apron says TWN, and I kept trying to figure out what this was, and I think it stands for the Wrestling Network. They say
the Wrestling Network. So I think they were eventually going to try to make the UWF a separate show. They were going to do a Tony Khan's doing Ring of Honor. It didn't happen, and then they eventually had to sell everything to Ted Turner and TBS, TNT. But yes, I think he was thinking he can buy a bunch of territories and start a wrestling network.
Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm. By the way, they're showing people in the audience. They showed a woman in the audience with a replica belt. Did you notice that?
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that, but that's funny.
Yeah,
you're right. And she looked like a classy woman. She looked like a
she didn't look like one of those slobs we have today wearing the belt. Yeah, we have now when you go to a wrestling show, you're gonna see a slob that smells with a wrestling replica belt. There was a lady, a classy lady with a replica belt. I was like, this is so interesting. This is 1987. This match, people are super into this match, but it ends with a anticlimactic time limit draw. There is like seriously anticlimactic. It was just like nothing building up oh, the counting down, and it was just super anticlimactic. It was a decent opening match, but it was just fucking fell flat, dude.
It was a good match. I thought it was a great introduction for Rick Steiner and Sting. You can already tell Sting's going to be something bigger than everyone else in that ring. There was no reason for it to go to time for it to end like that. They really should have had Sting pin Hot. Who was the third guy? It was Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert.
Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, Rick Steiner, Larry Zbyszko.
They should have had Sting pin Larry Zbyszko.
Eddie Gilbert looked great in this as well.
He did. I've never been a big Eddie Gilbert fan. It's not fair because he died young, but to me, because he was never really in WWE, he always had like the stench of failure on him. You know how it's called? I kind of feel like he right now he'd probably be like an agent in AEW or something.
Dude, why was Precious holding a burrito the whole time?
I don't know what she was holding.
Precious had like what looks like a burrito.
Precious with Eddie Gilbert or with Eddie Jimmy
Garvin? She was the one with Jimmy Garvin. You see her holding this fucking like burrito the whole time, and I thought she was gonna use the burrito. She never does, and I was like, "Is that even a burrito?" Look back and see.
Maybe it was Manny Fernandez's burrito. He's like,
oh, yeah. By the way, no Manny Fernandez on the show.
God. I don't think there's another.
Already, this is an improvement from the other stars.
No Abdullah the Butcher or Manny Fernandez in this.
Yeah, it's already an improvement.
I think they mentioned Paul Jones, but you don't see him.
Oh yeah, no Paul Jones, exactly. See, dude, it's already these are already improvement.
These are already improvement.
Yeah,
just addition by subtraction.
Yeah, just by getting rid of some of this fucking deadwood, it's already an improvement. Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross, they throw to Missy, a very, very young Missy Hyatt in the dressing room. I think this is the only time we're going to see her.
We don't see her again unless they cut it out when they put on the network. I think she flubbed a few lines, and they were like, fuck it, just don't go back to her.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because if you notice, Jimmy Garvin cuts a really long promo, and I think they told him to kill 10 minutes. Because they couldn't go back.
Yeah, they sent her to the dressing room, and you think she's going to interview people because she's in the dressing room, and then you never see her again.
You never see her again.
Yeah. But she's very young in this. It's very interesting. I've never seen her that young.
Yeah.
We go to match number 2. It is for the UWF Championship. That's right. The champion of the promotion they bought is a second match.
It's just like when Cesaro was in the ladder match at the September pay-per-view.
You're right. This is so. Oh my gosh.
This is such an AEW show.
Yeah, I just made this comparison of AEW buying Ring of Honor at this start of this podcast that we're doing, but I just realized there are so many similarities. Right? They're 100%. But anyway, it is the UWF champion Steve Williams versus Barry Windham, who's the Western States Heritage Champion. I don't know what the fuck that means, but that's what it is.
Jim Ross says something like he's the first and only champion. I think he was always the only champion. I don't think.
Yeah, it sounds like a bullshit title. Western States Heritage Champion. It fucking sounds so.
Does that mean
it sounds like the Central States Champion?
Does that mean when you go to the Eastern States, they take the belt from you? You can't. Nope.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how it works. Oh, like sorry, you were born on the East Coast.
Kind of like the All Atlantic Championship.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Absolutely. Or Tony Khan should make an Eastern States Heritage Championship.
I feel like the more we talk about this event, the more similarities we're going to get with AEW. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, Steve Williams comes out wearing a Sooners jersey and shit, and I totally, right off the bat, I already go, oh, I totally understand why Jim Ross always had a boner for this guy.
Well, apparently Jim Ross explains that he was in the program, and at the time, I guess the Sooners were the number one college football team.
Yeah, but he was a wrestler at the university.
Oh, he wasn't. I thought he was on the team too. The Sooners.
No, the way Jim Ross explained it, he was the wrestler. He was on the wrestling team. But
Jim Ross must have had a fucking hard on. I saw that.
Yeah, Jim Ross loves this Steve Williams guy, and if you take Dr. Death Steve Williams, and if you take a look, you're like, oh, this is why this guy 100% just fucking loves this guy. Oh, you know what? I apologize. He did play in the football game. Yeah, he was a football player as well. Sorry.
Yeah. I think Jim Ross says that. I think and he says he's wearing it now because he wants everyone to know he's number one. He had to mention that the Sooners are the number one college football team.
Yeah. Right. So Jim Ross loves Steve Williams. You know who doesn't? The audience, because there's plenty of boring chants. Very loud, audible, boring chants throughout this match. There's this cool spot where Steve Williams goes for a leapfrog and Barry Windham fucking headbutts him in the dick.
Yes, that was great.
That was a cool spot. Someone should do that now. You leapfrog, but you fucking headbutt the guy in the dick by
Sold
accident.
it for a long fucking
He
time.
sold it for a long time to the point where there was even a moment where I thought, oh, that was a botch. But I was like, no, no, no. The way they sold it, it's definitely a work. But that actually got the crowd away. They start wrestling again. These guys are supposed to be friendly. They're like, they even have shook hands before the match. Barry Windham goes over the top rope. And as he crawls back in, Steve Williams cradles him for the win. Another very anticlimactic
Did you
win.
notice people booed when he won?
Yeah, this was people did not like this fucking match at all, and I totally understand why. It was a very boring match.
Well, I think that the problem is that like, and it's kind of like with Ring of Honor, and I think WCW was different than this, but like people didn't give a fuck about whatever the fuck it was called, Bill Watts company. No one gave a shit. People are here to see the NWA guys, and now you have this guy that I don't care about beating an NWA guy, kind of like Ring of Honor. Honestly, I don't give a shit about Ring of Honor. I never gave a shit about Ring of Honor, and the months where Tony was shoving it down our throats was like, it hurt the TV. I don't care. If I cared, they would still be in business. There would be no need for you. But
that is true.
And the same thing with this. I think the fans were. The other thing too is like fucking Bill Watts' company wasn't like a national. It wasn't like WWF. I think if they bought WWF, people would be down to see Hogan wrestling Barry Windham in match number 2. Nobody saw this company, so why do I care about their title?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, that's absolutely true. It's what do you call it? It was UWF was Bill Watts' attempt to try to become a national promotion, but it never was. So this is very similar to Ring of Honor. If you think about it, Ring of Honor technically was a national promotion, but only people who really cared about it was people on the East Coast, like Philly, New York, New Jersey, and so forth, right?
Yeah.
And Washington D.C., that area, Baltimore area. So it's kind of like that.
I think the story is this makes it even stupider. I don't even think Bill Watts was looking to sell. I just think Jim Crockett came to him with such a high price tag. He was like, "All right, fuck it. I'll just because he also had a construction business. I'll just go more into construction and take this money." So I don't even think it was like a case of him like, "Oh my god, I need to sell." Maybe I'm wrong about that,
or maybe Bill Watts just really wanted to leave wrestling because he noticed all the minorities and homosexuals coming into
Manny Fernandez.
Yeah, because he hates Bill Watts hates gay people and black people. He doesn't want to. If I don't want to serve them, it's my business. What a fucking dickhead.
He's a piece of shit. Yeah, but it was just. I think that was the bigger blunder than going to Chicago or competing with WWE. I think the bigger blunder was buying this stupid company nobody cares about. They should have just bought Jim Ross and Sting.
What did they get from so far in the first 2 matches? Did they get was Sting the first? Wait, Rick Steiner. They got Rick Steiner. I'm assuming.
Rick Steiner, Sting, Michael Hayes, Eddie Gilbert, Steve Williams, Terry Taylor.
I'll be honest with you, Rick Steiner is not just Sting. Rick Steiner, Michael Hayes, they all added to I totally they did get a plethora of talent from buying.
I mean, Sting, in my mind, Sting is probably worth whatever they paid. Sting and Jim Ross alone are like, come on, look, they're still going, right?
And Rick Steiner, let's not count out Rick Steiner.
Oh yeah, Rick Steiner, and then obviously he brings his brother in, and they're like the best tag team of all time. But you know what's so funny? They got more out of this deal than Tony got out of Ring of Honor. What did Tony get from Ring of Honor? Anyone gives a shit about? The Briscoes that he couldn't put on TV.
He got Briscoes from my point of view. He got Briscoes. He got Roosh. He got Bandito. He got
You can't even say Samoa Joe because Samoa Joe came from Junior.
So if Ring of Honor wasn't falling apart, I don't think Jay Lethal would have left. So he technically got Jay Lethal because Ring of Honor was falling apart.
Jeff Jarrett are a waste of time. But...
Okay. You know what else is a waste of time? This third match. This is a Skywalker match. That stupid scaffolding match.
They do it. This was better than the last one, though.
I will say this: it's definitely lower. It's not as high as before, right? It's lower. It's much lower. It is the Midnight Express once again. Bobby Eaton, but this time with Stan Lane, with Jim Cornette and Big Bubba Rogers versus the Rock and Roll Express. So if you remember, the last one is the Midnight Express versus the Road Warriors. So now it's the same thing, Midnight Express, but this time with the Rock and Roll Express. The Midnight Express are the U.S. Tag Champions. However, the belts do not count in this match. And instead of the first one where they start off on top, everybody starts in the ring and they're just climbing up to the top. And as everyone's climbing up, Bubba Rogers beats the shit out of Ricky Morton.
Yeah.
So Robert Gibson's up on the scaffolding getting double teamed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that sounds weird. Anyway, Ricky finally, Bubba Rogers starts climbing up on top to take a triple team Gibson, but Ricky Morton pulls him down and beats him up. All four up in there. Your typical Midnight Express bullshit. They're throwing powder in everybody's fucking eyes. I fucking hate that stupid fucking thing. Fucking Jim Cornette's fucking loser if he criticizes anything. After he was part of, we're gonna throw powder in everybody's eyes. Get the fuck out of here. And anyway, Eaton, both Bobby Eaton and Gibson are bleeding, so it's our first blood that we see 3 matches in. Stanley falls down first, then Bobby Eaton, so the Rock and Roll Express wins, but Big Bubba Rogers climbs up to the top, and he's facing off against Ricky Morton, and Ricky Morton punches him in the dick. He fucking runs away. So you got 2 dick spots so far.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, what did you think?
I thought it was better than last year. It's still, I think this is the best you're ever going to get in terms of scaffold match. It's just such a dumb idea. So I was listening to Dave Meltzer again, and he revealed the reason why the Powers of Pain quit was they wanted to do scaffold matches. That's why they went to WWE.
That they didn't do. The Powers of Pain did not want to do this.
Yes. And I was like, wow, those guys are the smartest fucking guys ever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This
is stupid.
It's just it's so fucking dumb, bro. It's so, like, you could have had the same match and gotten a better reaction just having them on the ground. I don't know why they insisted after last year sucked so bad. I don't know why I think they thought this was going to be like their Money in the Bank. And
this is their calling card, yeah.
Oh, we got to have it every year.
I actually think this was worse than last year's.
Really? I thought it was bad.
Because last year's, at least it was higher. So it was more like, oh shit, what are they going to do? The scaffolding was more rickety. So the whole point of this is because you want to see a train wreck, right? You want to see somebody fucking fall. So the fact that it's higher and it's more rickety, you're just like, it just adds to what you want to see. But this, it's like, it's lower, it's more steady. And it's not like the wrestling has improved. They still can't do shit on this thing. So to me, it was way worse. It was just like stupid.
I liked it because it told a story of Ricky's got to get up there. Like, it wasn't just like they're up there and the people fall in the gym.
I see what you're saying, yeah, but I still.
And the crowd was into it. You got to give them that.
Yeah,
it wasn't the crowd was bored like they were with Steve Williams.
Yeah, I will give them that. So far, 3 matches in, nothing's blowing me away. By the way, it's just like it is what it is.
But it's like you know what it is though. It's like it's not as agonizing as.
Yes. I'm not getting angry watching this.
Like, yes, it's like at least it feels like, but because like at least like Jim Ross is like telling you about like the Oklahoma football team.
Oh, by the way, yeah, let's talk about the commentary. The commentary it's like night and day compared to the last Starrcade. Because when Tony Schiavone was I think he was with Bob Caudle, there were so many moments where nobody's talking, and all of a sudden Tony Schiavone speaks up while the match is happening, and he goes, "Fans, don't forget Bunkhouse Brawl." I'm like, why are you talking about Bunkhouse Brawl? Can you talk about this fucking match? But Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone, was this like the first time working together?
On a pay-per-view, I don't know. But I wasn't watching all the. I mean, and I don't think they even have them up. I couldn't tell you about the weekly shows. Maybe they're working together.
Oh, okay. Well, regardless, the reason why I bring it up is because they have it feels like they have instant chemistry together.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Instantaneous chemistry. They're just talking. You're right. They give so much background. This was like, is it as good as Jesse Ventura, Gorilla Monsoon? No, but it's up there. It's 100% up there, I think.
Yeah, I think it's just going to get better. I know 89 is when they put Paul Heyman in the booth with Jim Ross, and that, I mean, from what you remember in 2001, I thought those two were really good together. So
yeah, like the only problem with this is that both guys, where when you have Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura, you get like real 2 different takes.
Yeah. You know what? A lot of people would always say like, "Oh, NWA is like more sports oriented than WWE," and I really do feel like this is the first time it feels like that, and it feels like that because of Jim Ross.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Jim Ross really makes it feel like a sporting event. No one else did before this. So all that, like, this is, and I think that was the difference going into from starting from here until the next few years, at least until he jumps, of why WCW felt more like a sport.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would love to have current day Jim Ross like listen to this and be like, Jim, do you remember this? You fucking loser, you fucking moron. Did you forget everything? Like,
He's
by the way, I listened to Rampage. I mean, I watched Rampage, and I think Jim Ross is starting to change his style of commentary to be the grumpy old man. Like, I think he's purposely trying to be the grumpy old man.
well, I mean, they got these. I mean, they got these. The
Yeah,
fact, dude,
because
the fact that
he,
they
yeah,
took him off Dynamite, like they don't even put him on Dynamite for like important
dude,
matches.
he's terrible. He's
He's
terrible.
horrible. He's
Yeah,
horrible. You know what it
he
is though? He just needs to he just needs to quit. He doesn't want to quit.
he's not gonna quit. He's not gonna quit
Well,
because
Tony's then
he's
should
in
fire
love
him.
with himself. Yeah, he's in love with himself. I would say if I was Jim Ross, I would be like, if you fully embrace this bitter, out of touch old man commentator, like you embrace it, he can actually get miles out of his career more because he could be like a foil to fucking Excalibur, right?
Yeah.
Where they argue about somebody and he goes like, "Oh, I don't understand it." Because right now, because when I listen to Rampage, he sort of was kind of like doing that. He
Mm.
was like everything Excalibur was saying, he would repeat it back and be like, because like there was a point with the basketball where they had the basketball in one of the Rampage matches,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
Excalibur goes, he passed him the rock. And Jim Ross was like, "Oh, he passed him the rock," and I was like, "Why did he say that?" And I'm like, I feel like he's trying to. He's embracing that role to be a heel commentator, or Jim Ross literally is a bitter fucking old man. And
I think it's both
uh,
ways.
yeah, I don't know, but I would say just fucking fully embrace it. But this is like peak
Because he's
Jim
young.
Ross.
He's young. He's had a lot
Oh,
to live for.
oh yeah, this is like peak Jim Ross. It's like if you're a young person and you think Jim Ross sucks as a commentator, watch this and you'll realize why we
Jim
sometimes,
Ross from '87
yeah,
until about 2005 is untouchable. I would say
yeah,
towards the end,
I
Vince made the right call and downgrading him, but like he's got 15 years where he's just the best.
I agree. I fully agree with that. Yeah, you know who's not the best? Bob Caudle, and he's in the back with. I thought they got rid of this motherfucker, and no, they didn't. They didn't get rid of him.
Oh
He was terrible as a commentator, but I did not like him. He
no,
was
he
putting me to
sucks.
sleep every
He's
fucking time.
still. Do you believe he's still alive?
He is.
Yeah, he was at the Ric Flair's last match.
He was.
Yeah, they had him. They had him do like stuff like this. Conrad had him,
Oh, I was gonna think like
or maybe he just did the voiceover. He did the voiceover.
I
Like,
was like, oh, they had him do fucking commentary. I was like, dear God.
you know, Conrad had him. No, Conrad had him do the voiceover to introduce the show. Like, it's Ric Flair's last match.
Oh, I did not know that. That's interesting. I did not know he was still alive. He was old even the fucking 1980 fucking
1983 one, yeah, bro.
Yeah. Holy shit. Okay. Anyways, he's Bob Caudle. He's in the back with Jimmy Garvin, Precious, and Michael Hayes. And not yeah, Jimmy Garvin cuts the world's fucking longest promo.
I think it was
He's
because they
talking,
wanted to take down the scaffold.
oh, because it's so fucking long.
Dude,
He's talking about
he
how,
previews every match. He doesn't just
oh
talk
yeah,
about his match.
he's talking about the fucking Road Warriors match. He's talking about Dusty Rhodes match, how the Road Warriors are gonna win, the Dusty Rhodes gonna win, and he's talking about his brother Ronnie Garvin. He's gonna win. It's fucking so fucking long, and then after finally they cut him off, and then they get Steve Williams to come in, who cuts a promo that's uneventful as well.
Yeah, I think they. I feel like they were like, we can't go back to Missy. She doesn't know what she's doing. So they're like, Jimmy Garvin's like, I could just wing it. And they're like, yeah, just wing it. And they just let him say whatever he wanted. Pretend.
Oh, that's probably what it was. It was awful. I did not like it.
Oh, it just kept going and going and going. You could tell he
Oh,
kind of ran out of things to say, but he knew he had like 5 more minutes. Like, and the Road Warriors and my brother. And oh man, it's gonna be a great event. And Sting and everybody.
is this the first time like that they're like acknowledging that these two guys are brothers?
No, they've acknowledged. No, it was mentioned. I think even at the '85 Starrcade in comedy.
Oh, really? That they're supposed to be brothers?
Yeah, they're
Oh,
brothers on the show like for like years before this. Yeah,
yeah.
86 Starrcade. No. What was the one with the fucking drag queen? 85. They mentioned it. Yeah, sorry, 85.
Oh my gosh. So Jimmy Garvin is actually his stepson?
That's what it says, but it also says they're not related. I can't get a straight answer, and I don't really give a shit enough. I don't think they're related. They look nothing alike.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look nothing alike. I've never heard like that they're still friends. They never talk about. I just think like for some reason they did that back then. They would make fake brothers. Everything.
They did it. They Edge and Christian. It's not like
Yeah, they still did it. Yeah.
dude. They're actually doing that on AEW. There's these Robin twins, and I think they're not even related.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, and they're doing it. Aren't they doing it in WWE? Somebody's like they're tagging as like brothers or something, but they're not really brothers.
Oh, maybe in NXT, you talking about the Creeds?
No, the Creeds I think are real brothers. Who are they doing this to? It'll come to me. It'll come to me. But I'm pretty
Jason
sure.
Jordan and Kurt Angle are not related.
Yeah. They still are. They still do that. Yeah, it's a fucking wrestling thing, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. Anyway, all right, let's keep going. Match number 4. It is for the TV unification match. So basically, both NWA and UWF, they both have a television champion. So it's the unification of this. It is Terry Taylor, the UWF television champion, with Eddie Gilbert versus Nikita Koloff, who is the NWA TV champion. The finish comes when basically Terry Taylor has the figure 4 on fucking Nikita Koloff, but Earl Hebner catches Terry Taylor and fucking Eddie Gilbert holding hands like cheating. So he makes them break it. And as they break it, there's this whole thing where Eddie Gilbert's on the ring apron, Terry Taylor runs into Eddie Gilbert, and then he turns and gets hit by Russian sickle clothesline by Nikita Koloff, who wins. He is now, I guess, the unified television champion.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I fucking hated this match. I fucking hated it. The finish was good, and people popped for the finish. A finish should have happened after 3 minutes of action. There was no reason why this match goes so long. Let me tell you something.
This is the longest match on the show, by the way.
Let me tell you something. Both guys don't have it. Nikita Koloff doesn't have it. Terry Taylor doesn't have it. Both of them are fucking losers. I wrote this on Instagram. People always say, I think Conrad even said on the podcast, the only difference between Nikita Koloff and Goldberg is that Goldberg won really fast. If you think that Nikita Koloff is more talented than Goldberg, you're out of your fucking mind. You're out of your fucking mind if you think Nikita Koloff could have been Goldberg. Goldberg is so much better than this fucking guy. It's not even funny.
I agree with that.
No, I know you agree. It's just this guy sucked. But here's the thing, though. There was no reason to put him in a match like this. If he had just won in 2 minutes, it would have been fine. Nobody wanted to see this guy struggle this long. Terry Taylor looks like he sells insurance, all right? There was no reason for this fucking monster of a man to be struggling this much. And when he won, people loved it. Just let the guy fucking win. They could have had something. They just kept, and the guy couldn't do it. I mean, this was a horrible. This was the worst match on the show. Maybe the worst match in 1987. I haven't seen the whole year.
It wasn't like bad for Starrcade standards. Yeah, but it wasn't bad like for Starrcade standards, you know?
But it was bad. Like, it's just like, why would you put this guy in this position? Why would you?
Yeah, it was like a nothing happening match, and I guess because they're unifying the two TV titles, that's why it gave so much time. But it was like, I didn't really care for it. It was just like whatever it is. But there's only, by the way, this Starrcade is only 7 matches, so we're already more than halfway in. And what's nice is that we really haven't seen any bullshit finishes, which is like a constant. This is one of the improvements. You don't see all this ref bump bullshit. No,
if this match ended with a bullshit, I think the crowd might have just left. The fact that Nikita did beat him, they loved it. People were like asleep. And then when Nikita won, they exploded. And it's like, that's all you had to do. All you had to do is have this guy beat Terry Taylor in like 3 minutes, and people would have been like ecstatic. And it just, man, they really. Here's the thing. I don't think Nikita had it. I don't think at both matches I've seen Nikita call off. He fucking stunk. I don't think he has it. But they did him no favors. How they booked him. They did him no fucking favors.
I agree. Match number 5. It is for the NWA Tag Team Championship. We got Arn and Tully, who are the champions, with JJ Dillon versus the Road Warriors, who are with Paul Ellering. The Road Warriors are dominating for the beginning part of this match. Arn and Tully really bumping, making these guys look good until Hawk gets his left knee injured. And then from there, it is just they're working on the leg, working on the leg, working on the leg. There is a ref bump, and he gets basically thrown outside the ring, the referee. This is Tommy Young, by the way. And then they throw fucking Arn outside the ring. They all come back in the ring, and the Road Warriors get Arn on their fucking shoulders, and they hit what looks to me the safest doomsday device I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And they cover, and then another ref slides in, they cover, and they win. But Tommy Young, who was the original referee, he reverses it, because when he got thrown outside the ring and he was laying on the floor and he looked up, he saw the Road Warriors throwing Arn Anderson over the top rope, which is an automatic disqualification. So he reverses it. However, the Road Warriors leave with the fucking tag team belts, and the fucking fans are chanting bullshit. You can clearly hear them saying bullshit.
This is the match they Meltzer said killed them. Yeah. The match is fine. I enjoy the match. The finish is an abomination, and it makes no sense. And I'll tell you why. Yeah. Tommy Young gets hit from behind by somebody, right? So that's a disqualification, and the match right then and there. Instead of like ending it for that, which is what I thought was going to happen, he ends it because when he looks up, Hawk throws Arn over the top rope. It's just like, why would you book something this fucking complicated? You don't have a screen. Like nowadays, you could have a screen. You could show a screen, the big screens in the arena, and you could do like a slow motion and have like an arrow, be like, oh, that's why Tommy Young. So the audience and the audience in the arena would still fucking hate it, I feel like. If they did this with the Acclaimed on Sunday. But why would you book this in 1987, this bullshit reason? And these are like your two. These guys are your Goldberg. This is your Goldberg and your Hogan in a fucking tag team, and you're booking. And they just made them.
Why did they not want the titles on the Road Warriors?
I think because of the Ric Flair thing. They wanted. I think they knew Dusty had to beat Lex Luger, so they didn't. They wanted the Horsemen to remain strong. I think that's why. Oh. Now, see, I would have had the Road Warriors win and have Dusty lose against Luger, but
yeah, I would have done that. I think I would have done that as well. Yeah,
yeah.
Because Road Warriors are super popular in this, super popular.
And then you could have the Luger being like, "Well, I took out Dusty Rhodes, none of you guys could," and that's how you start the face turn for Luger.
Dude, I like the way they did Doomsday Device in this match. Yeah. So the way it normally works when they do the Doomsday Device is like, Animals has that opponent on his shoulders in a electric chair position, right? And then Hawk does like a diving fucking clothesline, and the guy just fucking gets knocked out, and Animal just stands there, right? Yeah. In this one, as Hawk is hitting the clothesline, Animal falls backwards with the guy, so it's kind of like safer looking. Why did they change it? Why are they just like, you know what? I don't fucking care if you land on your head, dude. Right? It's just like.
I don't know. Maybe Arn and Tully said this is how we're doing it tonight. You don't have a fucking choice. I don't know. Yeah, these teams had good chemistry, man. And like, fucking, if this had the right finish, I think people would be talking about this match to this day. But Dusty got in his own way again.
Yeah. So after this match, we have Jack Gregory with Magnum TA, and they're reviewing the last 2 matches. There's only 2 more matches left. I have no idea who Jack Gregory is.
Me neither, but I know who Magnum TA is.
Yeah, Magnum TA, but he doesn't do anything. Then we get Bob Caudle again. He is with Nikita Koloff.
Oh my God!
And Nikita Koloff has to cut a promo. It is the worst Russian accent I have ever heard.
This was the moment I'm like, this guy was never going to go anywhere.
It's worse than Scarlett Johansson's Russian accent in that movie Jojo Rabbit.
Or fucking Iron Man 2.
Yeah, yeah. It's oh yeah, she did a German accent or whatever the fuck she did. Her accent's terrible, but fucking Nikita Koloff's is worse. It's just basically him going. It's so
He's
bad.
like, he starts barking at us, sir. Like,
It's
dude,
so bad.
if
I
he
was
was,
like, how does anyone think this guy is Russian? It's
why
so
would
fucking
you?
bad.
Why would you let him talk ever?
Oh, so long too.
This is where he needed. This is like the only time I would say a face needed a face manager. Like he needed like
Yeah.
an
Oh,
Arnold Skolin, or who could have been his manager? Johnny Weaver, and talk for
the
him.
fact that people bought this guy as being Russian, and I hear this, it made me think that everybody was a fucking idiot back in 1987.
See,
If you believe this guy was Russian, I think you might be a fucking idiot. Like,
dude, it is the worst. I can't believe how bad it
yeah,
was.
it's a
I've
really
never heard
bad
him cut a promo really.
Oh my
I
god.
thought his voice was, "Yes, I will destroy you," and then that was it. They just had to keep talking and talking and talking. I'm like, bro, why would you do this? This is
Yeah, it was awful. It was. You know what they should have done? It's like when with Yokozuna. Yokozuna wasn't Japanese, so when they let him speak, the only thing he said was bonsai, right?
Yeah.
And that was it. They should have just had him say one word, and then you know what's weird too? Because right after this, they have JJ Dillon cut a promo.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just have JJ Dillon cut the long fucking promo? You know, if you're gonna have him cut a promo anyway, make him cut a long one. It's so stupid.
It would be like equivalent of when Goldberg finally got the mic, he did an Indian accent, like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm here to beat you all up."
But it's not even a good one. Like it's
no,
like
a
really
horrible.
bad
Like, it's like, what is this guy doing? Like,
yeah.
oh,
No. If it was like Goldberg doing like a really stereotypical Jewish accent, but it's so bad that you go, this guy is not Jewish. I know he's
but
not
he is Jewish.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it would be like it would throw the gimmick out. Just like this guy is such a bad Jewish accent. This guy can't be Jewish.
He's like doing a Woody Allen voice. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's like really bad. It's like
how about tequila? Like, what
oh my god, it was so bad. Yeah.
Yeah, Nikita Koloff, man. I don't think he was it, but
no, he was not it. No,
he
has like penis, but he's not it.
They did everything they can to fucking sabotage him.
Yeah,
I wonder what would have happened if he had started in WWF. You think Vince would have like protected? I mean, I think dude, you can't. This is the thing you have to do as a booker. It's so important, and they didn't do this with this guy. You have to protect them from their own flaws.
Oh, of course, yeah, absolutely. If you know what you're doing,
if you know what you're doing, which they didn't know what they were doing.
No,
sorry, Dusty.
No. Sorry. Match number 6, penultimate match. It is a steel cage match for the U.S. Championship. We got Lex Luger, the champion, with J.J. Dillon versus Dusty Rhodes. At this point, is Lex Luger in the Four Horsemen and Ole Anderson is
out? Yes, they kicked out Ole. So I actually heard the promos on the Orange Show. They're actually pretty good. Ole went to his son. His son had a tournament, and he took off to see the son. And the horsemen were like, "You're not really a horseman. You care more about your son than us." And I think Rick said something about the son, and he grabbed Rick, and then the horsemen just beat the shit out of him. And Luger is winning matches left and right. He goes, I know there's an opening of the horseman. I would love to be the new horseman. I would love to be the new horseman. And then they put him in. So.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Lex Luger is a horseman. The stipulation of this match is if Dusty loses, he's going to be suspended basically for 90 days, meaning he's not allowed to wrestle for 90 days. Johnny Weaver, they finally took him off any kind of speaking role, thank God. And they gave him the key.
He's still around, though. I can't believe it.
Yeah, he's still around. Supposedly, I read about Johnny Weaver because I was like, why is this fucking guy constantly showing up? He's wrestled like through 4 decades, right? He started like really, really fucking old. And supposedly, like, everybody likes this guy. Like, he's somebody who everyone
I mean, he doesn't seem like a dick.
Yeah. They were like, everybody like this guy. So I think that's why they wanted to keep him around, because they were like, this guy is such a fucking good dude. Everybody likes him. He will ultimately, leave wrestling, and he actually becomes like a sheriff of a small town.
He looks like a sheriff.
He actually ends up being one of like the oldest people ever to take like the police training course in like fucking pads. Pretty amazing.
I mean, he was. That's more interesting to me than him actually wrestling. In fact,
yeah. Anyway, Johnny Weaver, the reason why he's here is because he actually gets to hold the key for the lock for the cage that nobody fucking sneaks in.
Yeah.
Anyway, typical Dusty Rhodes match. He's fucking bleeding all over the place. It's still an improvement because we are 6 matches in, and this is only the second sign of blood. So I'm okay with
Yeah.
that. JJ Dillon ends up hitting Johnny Weaver with a chair and knocks him out, so he gets the key. But it doesn't matter because he can't fucking open the fucking lock. So JJ throws the chair into the ring, and as Luger's bending down to pick it up, Dusty Rhodes like hits a DDT on Luger on the chair for the win. Dusty is now the U.S. champion. What did you think?
It was a good match. Looking back, knowing what we know now, I would have had Lex go over. I wouldn't have had Dusty win. I have to tell you, when I was a kid, when I was like when I got into wrestling, I didn't really know too much about NWA. Right, this is 1980, but I would get the magazines, and I saw Lex Luger, and in my head, I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna be the future. This guy's gonna show up in WWF and eventually take the crown from Hogan. You know what I mean? And they constantly, starting with this event, they stood in his way constantly, and he never became what he should have become. You know, because this match wasn't bad. It's his first pay-per-view match, and he's having a pretty good match with Dusty. And everyone's goes, he can't work. He can't work. I thought he was pretty good in this match.
Yeah, I think I don't think it was bad. I think I don't know if he ever could have been like,
but they never gave him the shot. They always and you'll see as we watch the Ric Flair matches, he has a ton of matches with Ric Flair coming up. They always stood in his way. If they had just fucking let him beat Flair, hold up the belt in 88 or 89, I think his life would have been very different. And I think the wrestling wars would have been different. They always made him look like an idiot at the last second. And Vince did the same thing there.
Yeah.
So, but no, this was. I was surprised at how much I liked this match, and I just think it was the wrong finish. I would have had, if I could go back in time and tell him, have the Road Warriors win, and have Luger win.
Yeah.
And if you don't want Luke, if you're like, well, we made the stipulation that Dusty can't wrestle for 6 months, then don't make that stupid fucking stipulation.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to our 7th and final match, which is also a steel cage match. So 2 back-to-back steel cage matches for the NWA Championship. Ric Flair, the champion, Ric Flair with JJ Dillon versus the champion, Ron Garvin.
Rugged Ronnie Garvin.
Yeah. And they call him the man with the fucking stone fist or stone punch. There is a loud Garvin sucks chant during this match. Right? And he's the good guy.
They did not want Garvin as a champ.
They did not buy this motherfucker as champion.
And you know what? I don't. You know what? I don't either. So.
But you know what? The Garvin stomps did get a pop.
But I'll tell you what, this was the best match on the show. This is the best match I've seen Ric Flair have since.
Yeah, this is actually not a bad Ric Flair match.
I think it's the best match on the show. What do you think? Yeah.
By default.
I mean, you can make a case Dusty Lex was better, but I think this was the best match.
But I would say by default, this match didn't wow me at all. But
I didn't wow me, but I had a good time watching. It definitely was.
Yeah, it was all right. Anyway, Ric Flair bleeds. So you're keeping score. 7 matches, 3 blood in 7 matches. Now that seems like a lot, and it's still about half, but you have to keep in mind. If you watch the other Starrcades, it's like there's 15 matches and like 12 of them have fucking blood. All right. So this is an improvement. It's a vast improvement. All right. There is a ref bump, but it doesn't matter because the referee still ends up getting up. When the finish comes, Ric Flair's bumping this entire fucking match. He's just getting his ass kicked the whole match. And finally, the finish, Ron Garvin kind of gets up and Ric Flair holds him up. And then he just starts walking backwards. And Ron Garvin hits his head on the pole on the cage, falls down. Rick covers him for the win. Ric Flair is now the 5-time world champion. Like I said, yeah, it was all right. It was.
Here is I do have a criticism of the match. Here's the criticism.
Yes.
Ronnie Garvin's supposed to be the face. In my mind, you want this guy to be over, even if he's losing. They
Mm-hmm.
do nothing to help this guy win the crowd over. Ric Flair doesn't wrestle in a way to get him over as a face. It's a good match, but like they do nothing to help him because you're right. When he does the Garvin stomp, he gets a pop. The match is not geared in any way to make you want to cheer him. And I think, oh, Ronnie Garvin was a flop. Well, you kind of didn't help. Again, you're not helping these guys. You're not doing anything to help them. You put them in position and then you let them just fucking sink. And,
Yeah, that's true.
And that's the thing. Ric Flair didn't do anything to make him look like a strong babyface. Ric
You
Flair,
know why?
came across as the face, where he's like the leader of the evil Four Horsemen.
You know why? Because this is what I've noticed about Ric Flair.
Mm-hmm.
His strong suit is like getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Like he's really good at acting like he's getting his ass kicked. And if you look at his offense itself is actually very limited, right?
Yeah.
He's only got I would say 10 moves at best, right?
He's the best. He's the greatest.
Yeah, this is why he can't actually make Ron Garvin look good because most of his opponents are always kicking Ric Flair's ass. If you watch his matches, he's the one who's getting his ass kicked. It's kind of almost like Hogan in a way. Like Hogan for most of his match, he's getting his ass kicked, At the end, he just pops up and he fucking does his moves though. But either way, it's fine. It was probably Ric Flair's best match, even though I thought the selling was better in the Nikita Koloff match. I thought his selling was really
I hate that match. More and more.
But anyway, this is a very easy watch of a show. It's only 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
It's better
Starrcade, but it ain't fucking WrestleMania quality show. I don't.
Well, it's no WrestleMania 3, but
yeah,
it's good for what they did. Yeah. So all in all, pretty good Starrcade. By the way, did you hear? I don't believe this rumor that Vince McMahon did push through almost Brock Lesnar. I really think if he's going to interfere, he's just going to take it all
over. Everyone's saying that's I've been hearing that same thing. Do you think it's true that was
I really don't think. I really think that if that's getting around, I think people are lying to the internet. So that way, the creative team has an out where if they don't, dude, now if something in WrestleMania sucks, everyone's gonna say it was Vince.
Mm-hmm.
They're never gonna blame Triple H now. He has an out that Vince took over and booked this shitty finish. I don't know why. I always sometimes when enough people report it, I say it's true. I don't think this is true this time. I really don't.
Am I the only one who's not upset about that match happening? Because I actually am curious about that match.
Well, I said to my buddy, he was like, "Oh, this match is stupid." I was like, "Well, Brock is not going to sell for Dexter Lumis or Bronson Reed or Johnny Gargano or who is he going to fight at WrestleMania? Who is he going to fight that he can just squash and walk away? No one's going to be mad. If he fights Gargano and annihilates him, the fan base is going to go ballistic for years, So who is this guy supposed to fight? If he fights almost and squashes him, then that's great. We'll move on.
Yeah, why I'm actually looking forward to this match is I feel like Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, he's gonna have a 3-minute, 4-minute match.
Yeah.
Right? And it's gonna be him throwing around people. And I think the visual of seeing him throw around somebody that size is gonna be a big moment. When he used to throw around Big Show, that was so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And I
Mark Henry threw around too a few times.
Yeah, and it's always cool. If he throws around a little guy, it's not so impressive. When he throws a big guy, it's really impressive. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
It's just there's so many people that if you put them against Brock right now, they would just be wasted because they would just be you have to protect Karrion Kross, you have to protect Gargano, you have to protect Austin Theory, you have to protect The Miz to a certain extent. There's just this guy you don't have to protect. You make this guy look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I think if this match is them Brock Lesnar just throwing almost around, then I think it's them saying we're done with almost. We're not we gave this guy enough chance to improve. He hasn't improved. If Almost does end up winning, then I'm gonna be very surprised. I'll be,
I mean,
So
if Almost wins, I would say that Brock is leaving. Because why the fuck else?
yeah. Honestly, I don't know why people are so upset about this match. I don't like who the fuck cares, guys? Like,
But Brock, like, I could see like I could see like a Gunther match if Brock really had. If you really think about it, Brock hasn't had a good competitive back and forth match in like maybe 5 years. Like he just doesn't have regular matches anymore. So
yeah, exactly.
I
That's what
don't
I'm saying. Yeah.
know why you guys think that he would allow Gunther to have a match with him that he had with
Oh,
Sheamus.
I don't want to see that match because I know he's just gonna fucking annihilate Gunther. It's not
Or
gonna
he's
be
gonna
fun.
like beat the shit out of Gunther, then Gunther's gonna sneak the win, and then that's it.
Yeah, it's not gonna be. Trust me, you guys don't want to see that match. If you like Gunther, you do not want to see that match. Trust me,
Yeah,
you don't.
I don't know what they
You really think Brock Lesnar is gonna be like, yeah, I'll let this guy slap me around? You really think he's gonna say that? Like,
he didn't let
no.
John Moxley get anything in.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, oh, so what is this match? Well, he's gonna chop you a bunch of times, and he'll be like, no, that doesn't fucking work for me. He's not fucking chopping me, dude. I'm gonna fucking punch. If he chops me, I'm gonna fucking punch him in the face. That's probably what Brock Lesnar's saying.
He destroyed Moxley, and then Moxley never had another WrestleMania match ever again.
Yeah. So I'd rather he beat like really quickly somebody who I think was given the opportunity to improve and he hasn't really improved.
Yeah.
You know? Like it's fine if it's fucking and almost the best choice because of his size. It's like I would have said if Brock Lesnar's not gonna have a significant match at WrestleMania, but he's gonna squash someone, I would say it's either gotta be Almost or fucking Shanky. Those are the two people I would say.
You know what though? I would love to see Brock versus Shane right now. I think that's fun.
Yeah. You know what? Throw them both in there. Almost and Shanky versus Brock Lesnar.
Oh no, not Shanky. I think meant Shane McMahon. I would.
Oh, Shane McMahon. Oh, actually, yeah, I would love to see that too. I would be like, yeah, throw Shane McMahon around a fucking bunch of times.
That would be that. Imagine like I also think there's a part of me that thinks like that this is a red herring and like in the next 2 weeks Brock is going to just injure Almost and then his real match going to be announced. So
that's also possible. That is also possible.
But yeah, so that's it for this week, guys. I was interviewed on the Laps Fan. Me and the Laps Fan were doing a live post WrestleMania show at the Comedy Chateau North Hollywood. You can look for social media. It's actually April 2nd, night 2 of WrestleMania. As soon as the event ends, head to the Comedy Chateau. I was on the Laps Fan podcast. I wasn't able to plug this show, but come on. If you heard me on the Laps Fan, you came here. Stick around. We don't talk for hours like the Laps Fan, but we're pretty funny. I think we're pretty funny, right, Andrew D?
I think so. We're gonna shit on everybody.
We fucking hate everyone except for Hulk Hogan.
Except for Hulk Hogan, yeah. Like
next week. Now it's getting different. Now it's starting to get mixed up. Next week is the first Survivor Series, Team Hogan versus Team Andre. Same night as this, so it'll be interesting to see, what show you like better. Then in 2 weeks we have the Bunkhouse Stampede from NWA. In 3 weeks, guess what, Andrew Lee? The first ever Royal Rumble.
Wow, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that wasn't a pay-per-view, but I'm counting it because every other Rumble is a pay-per-view, so we need to see the first one.
Okay.
Then in 4 weeks, WrestleMania 4, which I'm actually dreading because it's so fucking long. But it's 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours. That's all right. Right now, the longest pay-per-view you've seen so far was 3 hours, right? No, 4 hours.
Starrcade 86.
Yeah. So, what do you call it? All right. So, Survivor Series, the first one. I don't think I've ever seen the first Survivor Series. So,
I've seen it. I didn't like it. I remember not liking it as a kid. Let's see if I feel bad. I feel like the second and third Survivor Series are way better shows. But hey, let's see how I feel now.
Yeah.
Guys, if you like the podcast, please subscribe. Please follow me on Instagram and TikTok, Ray Goots Comedy. And we'll see you next week for the Survivor Series.
See you guys.
Andrew Lee, bro.